Why didn't they say that? Well, how is it conduct detrimental to the team? What did I do to the team? What did I do to the players? I did nothing but practice with them.
YouTube was good, Sad Boy A, and today I'm trying something different, man. Today we're gonna be talking about the Jaden Ivey situation. As you guys may know, religion and politics are two of the most protected topics in the world. Most workplaces don't like you talking about either one of those two things. Obviously, the Jaden Ivey situation had to do with religion. So if you guys don't want to hear about that, go ahead and click off the video. So this is your chance. All right, you're still here? I appreciate you staying and listening to me yap. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the real problem with the Jaden Ivey situation that social media and the media is not telling you. Now, before we get into that, I'm going to go over the events that happened with Jaden Ivey in chronological order so you guys are up to speed for you guys not tracking on the situation. I'm going to show some clips of each thing that happened, and then I'm going to talk about it. And then at the end, I'm going to sum it all up and give my take on what the real problem is.
God saved me from a life of fornication. He saved me from a life of drunkenness. He saved me from a life of pornography. Right? And many of you in this call still struggle with those things. And I'm here to tell you that God can set you free from those things. You don't have to you don't have to be in bondage anymore. Jesus Christ has come and he offers life to those who believe in him.
So as you guys can see, the first video is actually pretty chill. He doesn't really say anything, at least in my opinion, that's too controversial. He just talks about his old ways, how he used to do things that wouldn't be seen as Christian. As he talks, obviously, he's a Christian now. So those things that he was doing, detailing in this clip, wasn't Christian. So I don't think the NBA or anyone had a problem with this. But after this video, as you'll see, that's when the controversy started.
The world can proclaim LGBTQ. They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. God did not make a man to be with a man. How God did not make a girl to be with a girl. God made a man for the purpose of procreation.
All right, so you guys saw in these two clips, he talked about the LGBTQ plus community, one of the most protected communities in the United States. And then he also talked about man to man, a woman versus woman. Granted, were the things that he said, obviously a lot of people are not going to align with, but me personally, I don't think he said anything like off the wall. He just shared what he believes in from his worldview, which is a Christian perspective, which I don't have anything wrong with that. Is what he said controversial? Maybe. But this is when the alarm started going off at NBA offices and people started to be noticing. You feel me?
Why didn't they say that? Well, how is it conduct detrimental to the team? What did I do to the team? What did I do to the players? I did nothing but practice with them, play with them, pass the ball to them, good teammate to them. That's why you got Steph Curry, and he not even surrendered, and y'all believe he's a Christian. Y'all believe he's a Christian because he wrote Philippians 4:13. Y'all think he's a Christian. But he cursing just like the world.
We are now almost ready to go, so please take your seats. Fasten your seatbelt.
Friendship with the world is enmity with God. He's friendship with the world. He don't know Jesus. And I pray he comes to the truth. That him and his family will be saved in Jesus' name. Because all that stuff is not going to matter on Judgment Day. All them rings he got.
I'll buy it, yes.
All them rings LeBron got. All them rings Michael Jordan got.
So in these clips, Jaden starts to talk about how he was cut for, in his opinion, saying what he believes in. And then also he talks about Steph and LeBron and Jordan, how all these rings don't matter in the end because where are you going after you die? You know, because we all know this, that once we die, I mean, anything that we did on earth, we just become a distant memory. Like, for example, nobody really talks about George Washington anymore. I mean, he was the first president of the United States, so I could say he's a very important person, a pretty important person, but the name outside of that, he doesn't move me. I'd see him on my dollar bills, but like that doesn't move me. That should just give y'all a little context of what he means when he says that. But now he's really going off the walls because now he talked about Bron. You know, folks ain't going for talking about Bron. Now, I'm not going to show these clips. I'm just going to link the podcast in the description so you guys can watch if you're interested. He kind of goes further into detail about what he was saying. For example, in the podcast, he talks about he never said he hated anybody of that community, but social media sources just painted him out to be somebody that says he hates these groups. And those words never came out of his mouth. He also talks about how he feels as in his faith as a Christian, that it would be wrong for him not to speak about these things, which I feel that he has a right to say what he wants to say. But we all know there's consequences to your action. Now, were his consequences drastic? I believe so. I don't think he should have been cut for anything that he said. I also feel like now that we're all caught up on the Jaden Ivey situation, I'm now going to dive into the real problem at stake, which is media out. The reason why that's the real problem here is because media outlets just painted Jaden Ivey as to be some sort of villain, blank phobe. I don't want to say the word because I'm not trying to get packed on YouTube. He's looked at some sort of blank phobe and that he's going through some mental health episode. For example, I'm not going to show these clips, but Emmanuel Acho and a couple of other NBA and NFL players were all like, pray for Jaden Ivey, pray for Jaden Ivey. Like he was some sort of like off the walls crash out that just went bananas. And if you listen to what he said, nothing he said is bananas or mental health episode giving. At least to me. Maybe my definition of mental health episode is different than yours. But from the clips I showed, he was talking in a very calm, coherent manner, meant everything he said, and everything he said was based off the Bible. Now, if you're not a Christian, you may not know what the Bible says about these things, but the Bible does support everything that Jaden Ivey said. Now, could Jaden Ivey have done a better job of showing love to these groups? Because the Bible talks about that. You're supposed to show love to everyone, anybody. Now, the Bible also talks about how it does not support these two groups, these LGBTQ plus groups. But you're supposed to love one another, pour into one another. If you feel that they are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, you're supposed to pour into them. And Jaden Ivey could have did a better job of that. But I also feel like he never really got a chance to, because everybody painted him to be some sort of mental health crash out, and we need to pray for him, and that the things he said were just completely made up, which is not the case. And that is why you guys need to be careful about your social media consumption, and start to formulate opinions of your own. And this goes beyond the sports world. Obviously, we're talking about the sports world here because we're a sports channel and I like talking about sports. But this is a bigger problem because the media is going to paint out whatever narrative they want to paint out. Just for example, Instagram, for example. You're seeing the best of people's lives. You're not seeing the 9 to 5 or the trench work. You're just seeing, oh, they took a trip out to Miami. Oh, what up, boy? I see you in Miami. Or whatever. You went out the country. You posted you out the country. You're not gonna post you at working your 9 to 5. Like, you feel me? It's all social media is just painting out whatever narrative you want to paint out. Whether it's true, false, indifferent, whatever gets the most clicks, or whatever's going to push the narrative, the agenda, the needle, the right direction is what you're going to see. You have to go and do your own research on things before you have an opinion on anything. Because I'm not going to lie, this video, I was just going to kind of reel into Jaden Ivey. What I saw on social media was just him crashing out. Like, invalid, random crash out. But if you really dive deep into what he said and actually watch the real live instead of watching clips, you're going to see that nothing he said was inherently crazy according to the Christian worldview. Obviously, if you're not a Christian, you're not going to align with what he said, and that's where the problem comes in. So it just depends on where you fall on that spectrum. Now, as for him getting cut, I feel like that was a drastic stretch. Shouldn't have gotten to that point. We've had people in this league do things for worse and not get cut. But as he was coming back from injury and he said something about a protected group and the Chicago Bulls are a private organization, those 3 factors kind of led to him getting cut. Now, if he had went and apologized right after the first video, he probably wouldn't have got cut. But Adam Silver said, we ain't having that. You got to go. You feel me? So I don't believe anything he did was inherently wrong. But you have to answer to your higher up at the end of the day. Everybody has a boss. So you do something in that private organization that jeopardizes their status or their outlook. Because if they had kept Jaden Ivey, a lot of people would have seen the Bulls as a anti-blank phobic organization because just for keeping Jaden Ivey. And anyone that signs him from this point on will see him as that figure. And I'm here to tell you, he's not that. He is just somebody that strongly believes in his faith and felt as if he needed to profess that to others in the world. Like I said, could he have gone about it different? Yes. Could he have showed more of a stance on loving those people in that group? Yes. But he didn't, and now we're here. I just want you guys to all be careful about your media consumption. I know this ain't really, it's sports related, but social media, you see a lot of things on social media that ain't got nothing to do with sports. And sometimes you do see things that do with sports. So as sports fans, I say we got to be careful what we're looking at. Make sure you're doing your research on your end before you come to conclusions. And with that being said, that's really all I had for this video. I want the comments to be a discussion. I don't want hateful or slandered narratives in the comments. I just want, if somebody has a different take than what I had, let me know. If I'm wrong, if I'm tripping, let me know. If I need to get packed up with Jaden Ivey, let me know. But I just ask that everybody have a community and be nice to each other in the comments. I know it's just the internet, so it probably ain't gonna happen. But thank you guys for watching. As always, Sad Boy A is out. Until next time. Hope you guys have a great Easter, by the way. I'm trying to upload this before Easter. All right, y'all. I'm out.